Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Upcycling with Ash. I am pleased to have you guys here today to check out something that not a lot of people have thought about, but if you like chemistry, you're going to love this. You know how most of the time we're ordering from Amazon, especially if it's around Christmas or birthdays, and we get things like, say, electronics or whatever, and it usually comes with this. You know how much of a pain in the butt it actually is to cut it up and get rid of it. It makes more mess than necessary. If you do have to cut it small, there are ways you can do it, which I've heard doing a AA battery or a bigger battery with copper. If you hold one end to the other, you can actually cut them pretty nice. Unfortunately, I do not have any actual good copper with me at this time, otherwise I would show you that bit of it too. But all it requires is your styrofoam and a bit of acetone. You can find your acetone at auto body places, mechanic shops, places that, sell car parts or paint. As far as local here in Lamoille County, that's places like O'Reilly's and Aubuchon's and Menards, and Guy's Farm and Yard might have some too, and RK Miles. I mean, there's all kinds of different businesses that you can go to. There's also a bunch in Stowe that are really good too, where you can find acetone. Now, the cool thing about acetone is when it reacts with the styrofoam here, it turns it into a sealant and a glue, which works really well for wood and stone. It does not work well for plastic and metal. From what I've noticed, the bond does not really hold very well. It tends to break off very easy, whereas you do like wood to wood or stone to stone, there's a better adhesive, and it seals well. So it's highly recommended more for those things. Plastic, they say you can use this technically to seal up holes in plastic, as far as like if you have a bowl that, is got little tiny holes in it from something chewing in it, but you need the bowl. They say you can mix it up and use it for that, but there's actual videos out there disproving that. If anything, it just creates more of an issue and you just wasted your time. But anyway, so the number one thing that's important when doing this is making sure that you glove up, because again, you're dealing with acetone. Acetone has a high absorption rate as well as a vapor rate, because it can dissolve fast, hence why it's in a container like this. If it's in other certain containers, it really doesn't last long, and it tends to either possibly combust or make something pop, and well, you don't want to see that. It's not pretty. So you just get yourself a really decent container, ones that typically you could use for mixing paint, or if you're like me and you like to dabble sometimes with epoxy resin, this is really good because it also gives you, everything that you need to measure out in your ounces and any ratios that any of your formulas are going to be at when dealing with paints and or epoxy resins. So I highly recommend getting stuff like that. Mixing cups are great for all various kind of projects. So this is a brand new container bought from O'Reilly's. Sometimes it's a bit of a pain in the butt to get them open, especially because I have a lot of nerve damage in my hand from the first time I got COVID. So unfortunately, sometimes I don't have the push and or the grip that I need. It says to push and turn. Push down and turn to open. No, really? I don't think I'm going to get this open if I have to. I mean, I'm obviously pushing. Why? Come on. I swear to God, it's the container. It says push down and turn this way to open. I've been pushing down and turning that way to open. Like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to stop the video and take care of this a different way. Yeah. If you run into issues like that, it's best to get something else to try to get it open, because that legit is just not coming off. So I'll be right back. Okay. I finally was able to get it unscrewed. It took a hot minute. It did not want to come apart. There we go. So again, glove up. I'm just going to go by ounces just so I know how many, because I want to try to fill up as much of this as I can. So, we pour in our acetone. I know I'm getting it everywhere, that's why I have the tray. The bottle's kind of a little bit messed up because, unfortunately, it did not want to do what I wanted it to do. And this is not actually solid stable, but just trying to get as close to 3.5 ounces as I can, because as you put more of this in there, it's gonna get thicker. But I wanted to show this to you because it's really cool too. So you take this and check it out. It is insta melting it into the solution. Now, it's so oddly satisfying to do this. But again, this is another reason why you do it outside, because as this is doing this, it's releasing stuff too, but it's so satisfying to watch. I love chemistry. And I mean, you could keep adding a whole bunch of this too. And the good thing about it is when you put it in the jar, you can save it for later. And if you need to add more into the solution, you know, you can then do that. But yeah, you just keep mixing a whole bunch. And just, you know, you can just sit here and casually just keep dropping it in there. It's gonna dissolve. It's gonna keep going. It's so cool to actually see it all disappear. But yeah, when the styrofoam mixes, it ends up turning out to be a really good sealant that you can do over wood and over cardboard or paper, or even stone too. If you like certain stones, but the really pretty bit of it only shows when it's wet, essentially, you can use something like this to coat it. And yeah, it's pretty wicked. But again, like I said, never ever ever do this indoors. And if you're ever showing this to kids as a cool experiment, again, make sure it is done outdoors, so So that way you reduce the risk of getting toxic fumes. I want to try this stuff. See how well this breaks down. That is the type of styrofoam that is used for like insulation and stuff, which I'm kind of curious to see how well that melts in there too. I'm not going to add a lot of it because it is slightly different kind of compound, but I'm not even putting any pressure on it at all. I'm just touching my finger to the edge as it goes in. But what happens is, if I can pull that up. So when the stuff melts, it starts to turn into this really nice goopy stuff. And you want a lot of that. Especially if you have like, you know, this many ounces to work with. Which is why I'm going to grab this other piece. By the way, huge shout out to Second Chance in Morrisville. I got a really cool gazing ball from them that I was so excited I could get. And that is what is giving me today's little chemistry lesson for you, is the styrofoam from it. Oh, that is, see what I mean? You tear it, it makes a mess. The cool thing is you can throw those little bits in there too. It's still going to dissolve into the glue. So you just take them and go click. You know, just have fun with it. You could even be silly and do it with kids, where, depending on the styrofoam that you use, you can turn them into cool little shapes, and then be all like telling a story with it, where they somehow get sunk in a sunken ship or something. I don't know. But again, styrofoam. So cool. Boop. And I'm doing this all in real time too, so you guys can see, like, let me just knock that in there a little bit more. So you can see that, you know, it's a decent process. It's at least fun, you know, because you get to do a little bit of chemistry while you're creating your own sealant and glue. I mean, there's all kinds of really cool YouTube artists that make really neat things. See, it's sticking to me. There we go. There's so many cool artists that I highly recommend checking out. Like Upcycle That, and Creation Invention. Definitely check out Alex. I'm gonna apologize if I butcher his last name, because I forgot how he pronounces it, but Alex Eves, E-A-V-E-S. He actually is a really cool dude to check out, because he takes all kinds of shirts. It doesn't matter what is the logo on the front or the back, and he will print his logo, which is Stay Vocal, or he'll have like reduce, reuse, recycle on there, on all kinds of really cool shirts and stuff. So you should check him out and, you know, support his cause. He goes to all 48 states. Hopefully he'll be able to get to 50 states. Yeah, support your local artists, support your local upcyclists, and green up enthusiasts, my hope is to get us to a point where green up isn't just a weekend thing. Like, doing reduce, reuse, recycle is all great and all, but upcycling also opens up the possibility for a lot more other things that you could be doing. Like, one of the things I talked about in my class was the fact that you could take two soda cans and cut them about halfway, and then you cut another piece of round bit and you shove that in the middle, and you make a couple slits in a few places to allow for the fuel to have the ventilation and whatnot to do what it needs to do. But you take those, you invert them, and you put them together. I might have to add a little bit more here, or maybe not. You put them together, and then you poke holes in the very top of one side, kind of like the way the old-fashioned gas stoves are, you know, where it has the round circle and all the little pilot holes. And then when you put in whatever the chosen fuel is, which I'll be teaching those at some point as well, how to make 4 different fuels. I swear that truck's getting louder. Sorry. I'll be teaching you how to make 4 different fuels using things that you have already at your house, more than likely, other than one of the ingredients, which is denatured alcohol. But you can substitute 91% rubbing alcohol. It just burns a little different, and there is the risk of releasing like carbon monoxide potentially, because rubbing alcohol is not really meant for that. Neither is denatured alcohol in some sense. It's meant for other things. But anyway, there's a lot of really cool things I plan to teach. Some things for emergency situations, like if you're in a blackout, you know, or for some reason power is out for a few days. I have many different things that you can do. Many different things that you can do that can help, for one, protect your food and keep it refrigerated longer, but also how to heat your food in worst case scenarios, how to keep you warm if for any reason you have complete loss of power. I mean, I'm excited. I cannot wait to show you all these different things. It's still going. This is absolutely fun. Like, quite honestly, if I didn't have other things to do, I would probably sit here and just do this all day long, because, I mean, I don't know about you, but it's just oddly satisfying. I like little things like this. Like, I love how things work, but I also like learning how things can work. You know, outside of the box kind of stuff. Like, I love my husband to pieces, first of all. He is a good one when it comes to doing DIY and making all kinds of things. Because there was one year we stayed in a camper during winter, and he converted a propane tank and sides from, I believe it was either a washer and dryer or like a dishwasher type deal, but he converted it into a wood stove for the camper that we stayed in. And like, there were times that we would actually buy some of those, I think it's called Gordon's, the brand, but the haddock, the breaded haddock, and we would cook our food wood fire style. And oh my god, those were like the best things ever. Like, I kind of want to replicate that in some cases. But like, he's like me. He likes doing and making things And not just making things, but like using things that otherwise would be meant for something else entirely. Like turning skis into a crossbow and those long bolts into the arrows, which was really cool. I mean, and he's built trebuchets and everything else, and so like the things that I do as far as my creative stuff, you know, he encourages me on it, because I mean, I love doing all kinds of stuff. I love doing art. I love doing anything DIY. It's good therapy for me. It helps keep me grounded, especially. And plus, like, doing something like this, I get to help other people and show people what is possible. By the way, that noise was somebody going about 65 down our road here on Trombley Hill. That's a topic for a different day. I'm not going to go there because I'm just going to get a little irritated, but people need to do better, put it that way. That's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, it's melting. It's melting. No, seriously. It is indeed melting. Look at that. It's getting all thick. It's all bubbly, gross. It looks, seriously, it looks absolutely gross. Okay. I'm just saying, it looks gross. But, however, it's going to be turned into something really cool. So, hey, I'm not gonna complain here. It's a glue. Wow. That be a very useful thing right there. And the cool thing too is, like, say if you didn't mix enough and you have to wait, you know, say you're getting another package, you can put this with the acetone into a glass ball jar in the meantime. Just make sure it's properly sealed and away from heat sources or anywhere where the sun can get to it, because last thing you want is, what you might as well say is, a Molotov cocktail without the fabric. We don't want to do that. Anything flammable, we have to make sure to take the proper precautions for everyone's safety. And again, if you do this around kids too, just tell them, you know, they can watch, they can participate, however, make sure that they mask up, especially, I mean, even if outdoors, because they're going to want to be like, ooh, and get their face closest, you know, as close as they can to see it, and you don't want them to get sick. So, this is all for educational purposes only, of course. However, you know, I love DIY. It's so amazing. Let me see what I have here. I'm going to throw a little more in there. This stuff takes a little more time to dissolve, because it's got some other compounds in it. I'm just going to do that. Kind of just let it do its thing. And I shouldn't have to add any more acetone to it, just because acetone is really good at getting this melted nice. And I mean, you saw in the cup before, as far as how much actual glue is in there compared to how much acetone is still in there. I will be going for the bigger pieces here soon, but we're going to get this nice and nut going. We need all the small pieces first before we start digging into the bigger pieces. As you can tell, I've got plenty of pieces from work that we've been doing at the house. So, I mean, this stuff does melt too. It just does take a little longer. But it still works. Once you get it like nice and submerged, then it tends to go a little better. And yes, it will bubble. Gotta love chemical reactions. Yeah, this stuff is not quite the same, but it still is a nice little byproduct. Like, ew, I don't want that in there. We'll get rid of that stick, that'll be fine. But yeah. It just takes a little longer. But still, I mean, you can get a decent amount of glue out of mixing this stuff. And so on the next video, what I will do is I will end up showing you what that actually looks like when you're doing it on stone and on wood. So I have some test pieces that I can easily do. This is going to take a while to get through all of this. So I'm going to go ahead and finish making all my glue. And then once my glue is finished, I will hop back in the video and show you what it looks like when all of it is completed. Okay? So I'm going to pause and I will see you soon.